Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much, as always, for joining us today. Have another awesome podcast in store for you guys, which is directly related to the path and sometimes how it can be a confusing aspect for people to follow. And back with us again for the third straight week is our good friend Andrea. Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are
Yep,
you?
doing all right. You holding up well in this quarantine?
I'm trying, right?
Yeah, aren't we are. Now, for those that don't know, Andrea and I actually have never met. And although we've been working with each other for quite some time, uh, we have never met. So Andrea lives in Ohio somewhere. And yeah, we just kind of met and have been working with each other on mediumship development. And both of us getting stronger as we go along. But just want to kind of throw that out there. So, as many of you guys know, this path is not an easy one to follow. We are working with spiritual beings and aspects of ourselves that we have agreed upon to go through this veil of forgetfulness. So, as we go through that veil, and now we are going through the process of remembrance of who we are as a soul and the path that we have agreed upon prior to this incarnation, it's not an easy one to follow. And as you look back on your life, you might come from this podcast and wonder, wow, what are some of the signs that I missed throughout my life, or what are some of the feelings that I made based off of a feeling that I shouldn't have? Like I felt something that was telling me I shouldn't do it, and yet I did anyway. Those are tough. Those are tough feelings to get over, but that's what this podcast is here to do. Help you a little bit more because you're here anyway, and we're here to help you, and all of us, we're all still growing, but we're here to help you get through those times. And from here, we're hoping to provide you guys with another sense of understanding on what are the different ways in which we can begin to make decisions that are aligned with our true purpose and higher self. So we appreciate you joining us today, and truly grateful for all of you. So let's get right to it. So the signs, sometimes we know about the different signs. We know about shapes. We know about symbols. We know about the numbers, the animals, the feel, the not the feelings, the visions that we get in our third eye. And sometimes it is so confusing. What the heck is this all telling us? I explained to somebody over the weekend that sometimes, especially in the third eye, like they spirit from my experience and my experience working with so many people, they use our minds as a database of sorts. And my good friend Jim actually asked me before, why do I research things? And my answer to him at the time, I don't feel was very good. It was only through a text message that we were talking. But really, ultimately, what it comes down to is that they will feed me an idea, or you, right? And then what do we do with that idea? We can either begin to research it a little bit more to kind of get a little bit more clarity, or we can just leave it. So, and what is a sign and what isn't? Well, I say signs that come in that way are stuff that kind of continues to stay with you. So if I'm getting something and I continuously feel it or see it, then that's clearly a sign. If it's something that comes in and is gone and I don't really hear or see it again, then I'm not really meant to do much with that. And but there are some people that get signs. For instance, they'll see a number and they'll see different numbers every single day, but they will look up every number. And to me, that is complicated because you don't know. That's tough. I try to go with more what resonates. But the great thing is neither is wrong. They're both right. It's what comes comfortably to you. If you feel that in your heart, that that's cool, that that's what you should be doing, then go do it and appreciate that. But also understand that it's difficult sometimes to really figure out what it is they're trying to tell you when there are so many different signs coming in. And some of these signs that we get aren't even necessarily about this present moment, which is also another aspect of all of this that adds to the confusion and the potential misguidance. And I actually have a story. So some of the signs that I used to see, let me see, about 2 years ago, I started seeing dragonflies and the number 808. And the dragonflies are a symbol to me that represent the ability to change rapidly. Because you guys all know when you see a dragonfly, they're upright, left, down, it doesn't matter. They're all over the place and change really quickly. So I was seeing the dragonflies for 2 straight years, and I had no idea. I mean, I literally would have conversations with a dragonfly that was right by my car, and I would sit there and say, like, "What are you trying to tell me? I understand that change, but why? What am I changing? What do I need to change? I have no idea." And then at the same time, I started to see the number 808. And 808 had two significant meanings to me that I felt resonated. And that's the other aspect of it. Some of these signs have multiple meanings, and you don't know which one really is meant for you. And 808 was one of them. 808 represented the potential passing of a loved one, and it also represented abundance, but the need to save money. And then there were a couple other meanings, but I couldn't figure out what the heck it was telling me. And again, I've seen that for 2 straight years. Now, the important thing to remember here, though, is that it's so important to understand that you can't stress about this. So if you don't know, right, at this moment, then you're not meant to know at this moment. And you have to be comfortable with that feeling. It is not something that can be forced, and it doesn't matter how much research you're going to do, because trust me, I've done a lot of research on dragonflies and 808 for 2 years, and I couldn't figure it out. But that's because I wasn't meant to. But what we must realize, though, is that we are here to learn from our mistakes. We're not here to be perfect and to make every move that is perfect. We are here to make mistakes and then learn from these mistakes. Like they always tell us, it is through the darkness that we find the light. Well, darkness isn't in making the best decision at every given moment. Sometimes you just gotta go and hope and wish and pray that it's all going to work out, because ultimately it is going to work out regardless. Now, we also are not enlightened beings. So we're not meant to have these answers all in the time frame in which we want them. We have to trust in the path, in the process, knowing that our guides, our teachers are with us at every moment, and that regardless, like I said, regardless of what decision or path we choose, it's going to work out for our greater good. Now, with that being said, some paths might be a little bit more difficult than the other, but difficulty is only a perception in the mind. It's not it. You know, if I go, for instance, I just quit my job. Well, if I stayed in IT, you know, the amount of money that I was making was pretty good, really good, and now I'm making like a quarter of that. And so, if I look at it from that financial perspective, well, sure, I'm going to go, ooh, this might not be a good idea. However, I was seeing the 808, and 8s are abundance, so I'm completely giving up my trust to them, saying, okay, you know what? I don't necessarily need to make that much money, because in the end, I'm going to be okay. And it's a level of surrender that we need to give to them. A level of surrendering the idea that we need to have every question, every symbol, every sign answered exactly when we see it. Or or for 2 years after seeing it. Even if you're seeing it every day for 2 straight years. And trust me, I was seeing 808 like 2 and 3 times a day. I've been writing it in my journal now for years. And but there was complete peace with it. Like I knew it was talking to me, but you have to find that peace. And find the comfort in knowing that okay, mistakes are okay. Lessons are meant to be learned, they are guiding us and you're going to get there. And I'll tell you this. I thought both signs were about my job, and actually the 808 was about my job and the passing of my cousin back in December, and then a couple weeks later I ended up quitting my job. So I thought both the dragonfly and the 808 were about the change in occupation and the passing of my cousin. However, I am still seeing 808 on a regular basis, and I'm not entirely sure if I got it right yet. So I'm still up in the air on it. I mean, maybe it is a sign telling me, "Hey, Chris, you are going to be okay. Continue to save your money and keep doing that work, and you're going to get there. You're going to be okay." So that's really what I'm holding on to at the moment. But to be honest with you, I have no freaking idea what they're trying to tell me. And no matter how much research I do on it, I just can't figure it out. And nothing's like really, really resonating with me. But I'm truly okay with that. And I know in time, when I need to know, it will happen. So, yeah, there is a level of surrender to these notions, to these ideas that, hey, I'm not meant to have the answer right now, and that's okay. They are with you. Believe that, trust that, and truly let go. Let go to the lazy river analogy that they have given us so much, knowing that it's going to be okay. Because if you aren't in a moment, if you're not in a moment and you're not knowing what a sign is, and you start to get concerned that, because this right here is an aspect of this, and you're concerned, oh my gosh, am I not making a decision that is supposed to take me in another direction and I'm just not getting it yet, and you start to get anxious or you start to fear that or worry about, oh my gosh, am I making these correct decisions? You're definitely getting out of alignment. There is absolutely a misalignment when you begin to get into that state of mind. If you are in a mindset of fear, worry, or what's the other one? Concern, frustration, anxious, that's clearly, and they've said it a number of times, that's clearly an indication of not being completely in alignment with your higher self. And important, very important to understand, when you are in a trusting mindset, a trusting and completely at a point where you are surrendering your worry, fear, and anxiety to them because you trust truly in their guidance, then you will ultimately be okay. And that's the truth. There's no doubt there. Because I'll tell you this, as you look back on your life, there are absolutely times when you were getting signs or getting feelings that didn't resonate with what you were doing, and yet you did it anyway. And look, you're still here. You're still at this point in time. You're still learning. You're still growing towards your higher self. You're still growing and beginning to learn how to rise above this veil of forgetfulness. And that is an aspect of all of this that we should really begin to hold on to. Not the doubt, the worry, and the fear about, hey, am I going in the right direction? But really in the sense that, hey, in spite of all the knowledge that I didn't have, maybe even a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, or maybe back when I was a kid, in spite of all of that, I am still here right now learning what I need to learn. And I'm moving forward in a direction that is beautiful and of love. And I will tell you this. I've channeled for many people over the years. And a message that several people have gotten over the years, even and I'm specifically speaking about older people that I've channeled for, like some people that are in their 70s who come to me and they are still getting messages that you are on the right path. And these people didn't even know, 3-4 years ago of any of this. And they are growing, developing their gifts. They're taking Reiki. They're getting their Reiki certifications. They're doing all this work towards this. And they are still fulfilling life lessons even at this stage of life. But that's because, especially with the energy of this earth, you can develop and get to where you're supposed to go very, very quickly if you put a little bit of energy into it. So don't fear, don't worry, trust completely, surrender to them, surrender your love, surrender the path, knowing that your guides are there and ultimately going to help you get there. Now, when I say they're going to help you, they do need your work, and hopefully in time their messages get so strong in your feeling that you can't help but go in that direction. But that's a key here. And one of the ways in which you can really help with the directional path to go to is through the feeling. And they say to be in the moment. Now, I just had a conversation with a woman taking my class yesterday, and this was absolutely the topic at hand, where, yes, we need to let go, surrender to the path, and let go of control, because you do not control it. And the more that you try to control it, the more out of alignment that you are. So, and they always tell us, as you go back through all these podcasts or all these channeling sessions, there is a ton of consistency here. And one of the aspects that is so consistent is the fact that your intuition is your guidance system. That is the directional arrow that brings you to a location, to where you're meant to go. And so meditation helps us become more aware of these feelings, right? If you're not meditating, if you're not at that aspect yet, that's okay. But meditation helps you be more aware of these feelings as they come up. So the feeling is where it is, though. And as you meditate and you feel these feelings, you know that, okay, based on how I'm feeling, I know I probably should not go in this direction. However, I can make a choice to go there because I have free will. And ultimately, I'm still going to get back to where I need to go. I'm still going to get back to the lazy river. It just might take me a little bit longer, or there's just a slight detour. We are humans, so those mistakes are going to happen. But when you do follow it, it does kind of give us that path of least resistance, that path of peace and love. And that's a really cool aspect of everything, an aspect of all of this. So here's a way to help you be aware of these moments, or how a way in which we can help you make these decisions as you go through this process. One is, as you are going through the process and you feel a directional pull in an area, or you have a question about something, hey, is this mean that? Ask the question. Take a moment, ask the question. Now, you don't want to sit here and ask multiple questions, because then you're going to get signs you don't even know what they are. You don't know what they mean. You don't know what sign is meant for that particular question if you're going to pose 3 or 4 questions at a time. You want to go with one question. So, hey, should I go in this direction, and be specific about that direction? Should I go here? And then in your mind, make that decision. Sit with it. So okay, should I go in this direction? And then say, I am going in that direction. And then pause. Be with yourself for a moment. Take some time to not think about it at all, but to simply allow the feeling to guide you. So when when I affirm that I am going in this direction, how does that feel in my stomach? How does that feel in my intuitive mind? Do I feel comfortable with it? You could even spend a few hours with it. I recommend it. And you can use this type of exercise in every aspect of life. And when you feel it, you know, when you feel good about the decision, you know there's no reason why you shouldn't go there. There's no reason why you shouldn't follow it, because you know intuitively it feels good. It resonates with me. It's not something that I'm questioning. So you spend a couple hours, minutes, whatever, with this decision. Now, I encourage, if you're going to make a huge decision, then I encourage a little bit more time with that decision. Hey, but the one thing that I do caution you on is the idea of your thoughts. So once you make a decision and you make a decision to potentially go in a direction, and depending on how long you sit with this decision, your mind is going to begin to try to influence you. And you must be cognizant of this. Absolutely essential. Your mind is going to try to get you or dissuade you from going in a particular direction because it wants to maintain control. So we learned last week that we carry both aspects of the divine energy. Obviously, we have the polar opposites all within inside of us, okay? One is meant for our highest good, the other is not. That one that is not for your highest good is going to play a role here in how much time you take, and it's going to sit there and try to get you to hold on to that fear. And that is why I tell you to pay attention more to the feeling. And that's where meditation is so important here, because it is in the meditation that the feeling can be sensed so much more. The feeling is amplified in your awareness of it. Such a huge key, guys, and something to really, really pay attention to. The ego mind will dissuade you from going in your direction. So the more you think about this, or the more time that you take to make decisions, which is totally fine, be aware of the thoughts that come with it, because the thoughts are going to be most likely dissuading you and going in an area that's going to make you happy. It wants to maintain its control. Be aware of that. Or maybe it wants you to think that money is the only thing that you need to worry about, or the most important thing. That is obviously a low vibrational thought. Which brings us to the next level of understanding, in that before we even ask this decision, we ask, is this a high vibrational decision that I'm making, or one that's low in vibration? For instance, is my only concern about money at this time? Is that why I'm making this decision? So, for instance, if you're helping people and you're not making a lot of money, but you want a new car, like this real fancy car, and you're saying, should I quit this job and go find another job where I can make a ton more money and then I'd be able to acquire this possession? Is that a high vibrational thought? You tell me. I won't even answer it for you. I'm going to let you sit with that decision. But on the opposite end, if you have a decision where you're like, wow, there feels like there's a lot of happiness here. It feels like there's a lot of peace and tranquility, and I feel like I can really find myself here, or discover a new sense of me that is a good thing and leading you in a good direction, where you feel supported, where you feel loved. Well, that is clearly an indication of something very good. And when you sit with that feeling for a bit, does that make you feel good? Does that feeling of good continue, or does it stop? Something to be completely aware of. Now, if it does stop, you need to also be aware of it. Is it your thoughts that are making it stop, or is it your feeling that's telling you no? Definitely things to be very aware of. But again, it adds to the difficulties and the complexity of this path and process. It's not freaking easy. It's not. And I know that. I hope you guys do too, and I'm sure you do at this time, because all of us have been in these situations where we are concerned. Are we making the right decision? Are we going in the right path? Are we doing things for the highest and greatest good of everyone? Okay, yes, think about all of that. True. But don't find yourself dwelling on whether or not you are making the right decision. Just let go of, okay, I made the decision. I'm now learning a lesson. And what is that lesson telling us? Is it telling me, okay, I need to listen for a little bit longer? Is it telling me I need to feel a little bit more? Or is it telling me that everything that I did, that I sat with the feeling that I felt it, is everything that happened prior to me making the decision accurate and led me to a great place? But be okay with either one and know that you're not stuck anywhere. You can always go, leave, find a new you. Take me, for instance. I literally was the household provider for my home, and I quit my job making a fraction of what I was used to making. But I didn't do it. I did not let fear consume me there. I literally trust it. And I tell you this not to boast, guys, but simply to give you a reference point. That when you do let go and when you do truly surrender, you're going to find your way, as long as you don't let fear consume you. Fear is not your friend. Anxiety is not your friend. Love is, truth is, they are your friends. And when you act in accordance with them, you're going to be okay. You're going to, even if you go in a direction. So when I quit my job, I thought I was going to start that business of meditation and mindfulness with kids in schools. Turns out, and companies. Turns out it wasn't necessarily meditation that I was going to help them with, or I am going to help them with meditation, but not in the manner in which I did. I instead actually am now becoming a teacher so that I can run my own class. And in these classes, I am going to run meditation practices and mindfulness practices in the classroom. So my course changed a little bit there, which leads us to another aspect of all of this, and the true surrender, right, to the path. When you truly surrender to the path, you are not holding on to the end result. When you're in the lazy river, you don't know where the lazy river ends, begins. You simply release to it and allow it to take you to where you go. It takes you to your end. And that is something to be mindful of. If you have goals, which many of us do, if you have aspirations of being something, doing something, if you are not completely surrendering and you're holding on to the idea that you had yesterday of, okay, I want to teach kids meditation, but I want to do it in this manner, and you won't let go of that manner, then you are not in a surrendering mode. You are in a control mode. I'm trying to control this. But what I'm saying is be open to the shifts and changes of this lazy river, of this path, of this process, and allow it to take you to where it goes. So when I was presented with the idea of, hey, you could actually work here and become a teacher and help kids in your own class, I sat with that idea for a little bit, and I used the very methods that we discussed here. I used on myself, and I allowed that to be my guidance system. I wasn't sitting there going, no, this is what I want to do and this is where I'm going and that's it, final. It wasn't like that. It was like, whoa, this is resonating with me. I can feel this inside of me. There's something happening here, and I need to be then willing to make the shift, the change, to go with that guidance system, which is exactly what happened. I did do it, and I am completely happy and content, and I feel truly blessed that I did give it that time, and I did surrender to the path, to the lazy river, and I allowed it to take me to where I was going. And if I didn't do that, to be honest with you, I'd be sitting in my house completely lost on where I was going, because I wouldn't be able to get unemployment, because I'm trying to start my own business. So because I have my own business, I'm not paying, and I don't have employees, I'm not paying unemployment for myself. I would be in a lot of trouble. But I didn't. And I listened to the guidance. I followed it. I listened to the feelings, to the sensations that were coming up, and I allowed them to take me to where I needed to go. And I will tell you, and I can't stress this enough, meditation is a huge aspect here. because meditation provides you the opportunity to be aware of these subtle shifts, and they are subtle. It's not like they're going to hit you over the freaking head, when a potential change is occurring. It's very subtle. I mean, you have a dragonfly in front of me. That's telling me something. I see a number. That's a message. That's how subtle these shifts are. I have a feeling in my gut that is telling me something. Sometimes these messages are so subtle, they can be easily missed. And if your ego mind is much stronger, whoo, that's not easy, ladies and gentlemen. That's really something that needs to be overcome. And you can easily miss a lot of messages if that ego mind is really a huge player in your life. Something to truly be aware of. Now, there's a woman that I'm working with who, as I said, this very topic came up with yesterday. And it's crazy how these topics, if I can digress for a second, crazy how these topics come up, because it's really, I don't think about it. It's just as the week progresses from the last podcast, I just pay attention to the different things, the different events that happen throughout the course of the week, and I literally just simply feel what it is they're trying to tell me. And then I start getting messages about it, and then boom, the podcast happens. That's how this is all going on. Anyway, back to my point. That this woman, when we were speaking, she is very tied to, right now, at the moment, very tied to where she wants to go. And her intent is so pure and loving, and it's so awesome to hear. But at the same time, we are trying to figure out that, or trying to learn the idea of surrender, of surrendering to not having these questions answered, or surrendering to the idea that just because you have that idea right now, that feeling right now, doesn't mean the feeling isn't actually guiding you to another destination. So the feeling could just be a step in the process. So I had a feeling that I needed to quit my job and start the meditation thing. That was a step that was then leading me to, okay, you're not going to do that, but you're going to become a teacher. And in the teacher, you're going to have a better influence over the overall well-being of so many more students, not just this limited one. So if I held on too tightly to that step and didn't really want to let it go and relinquish the idea of what I thought I was doing, and didn't surrender to the path and allow it to take me to where I need it, then I would have never gotten to where I was, to where I am now. And we'll think about it abundantly. If I think about it financially, I would not have been able to collect unemployment, and I would have been in serious trouble. So there are so many. Now, let's just say I did hold on to that step, all right, and I didn't make the move. Would I be in trouble? Yes. Would I have to make some adjustments? Clearly. Would I stress about it? Nope, because I would just make them. And then ultimately, I know I'm going to find my way back to where I need to go. That's how it's done. That is how you do it. And I'm not boasting about me. I'm really, really not, because it isn't me. I'm simply just following their guidance. So it's them doing the work. It's all of us as a collective, the universe, is doing the work. I'm just simply telling you guys how to become aware of how they do their work. They do not force upon us anything. Our free will is extremely important. It's a law, they have to follow it. So they influence us, both sides. Both sides. They cannot affect change unless we allow it to. And we have to be receptive to whatever side we want to work with, whether it's the divine or the other. We have to be receptive to that if that's where we want to go. But either way, you're going to get there. If you want to, if you make decisions to try to listen to it, you're going to get there. So hopefully you guys were able to get a little bit more information, a little bit more clarification on, and this is ironic, but the confusion of this path and how difficult it is for us to follow it at times. But some key points to take from this podcast. First, you want to surrender completely to the path, and knowing that you do not know where the end game is. Just because you have that feeling today doesn't mean that's where you're going. It just means that could be a potential step to where you are meant to go. Also, the importance of meditation and the opportunity that it allows you to be in the moment and to realize these subtle shifts. It also gives us the time that we need to sit there and be one with these feelings, to ask one question and then allow the time needed to feel it. But then when we do that, if we give it too much time, we must be aware of the effect of the ego mind, because the ego mind does want its play here. It does want its role. It does have a role. It is inside you, and you must be aware of that. It's going to dissuade you from going in the direction that is a high vibrational, happy, divine following sense. Definitely must be aware of, and you don't want to rely on those thoughts, because the ego mind is in the thinking. The divine is in the feeling. And that's, I mean, when you think about that, wow, how amazing is that? That you have these two different types of energy that reside inside of you, and, you know, the importance that they have in your life and the effect that they have in your life and where they are taking you. So, just things to be aware of. And also understand that there really is no wrong. I mean, ultimately, you are going to get to where you're going to go if you continue to follow the feeling and be at peace with where you are right now. Be at peace with the decisions that you've already made in your life that have led you to where you are right now. And trust in the sense that you are going to be led to where you need to go. And if you are aware enough, you're going to find that path. You're going to find that destination. You're going to find where you need to be. But pay attention to those feelings. So with that, I will go ahead, take a few moments and channel. But I will tell you what, guys, I felt real strong today in the connection, and that they were coming through a lot. I definitely felt real strong. I was also seeing colors as we were talking, seeing colored orbs in this room that I'm in, and I see angelic beings as color. So I was seeing red primarily today during this podcast, which was really cool, and that's an indication to me that was Archangel Muriel, who is my archangel teacher or assistant, whatever you want to call her, guide. She's helped me a lot. But anyway, I was seeing that color, and that was really cool. With that said, I'm going to take a few moments to channel for you. My children, blessed are we today to have this opportunity to communicate with one and all. We are here directly and specifically, my children, to Enoch speaking, to communicate about the idea of fear and its heaviness, effect on the human being, and its potential to move in a divinely guided direction. For it is a true aspect of who you are, this sense of fear and lower vibrational states of feeling, being. However, this is not an aspect of the divine, and there is a difference that must be expressed. The aspects, my children, of who you are of love only, are of gratitude, are of peace, calming nature, and healing. These are aspects of the divine, and anything that leads you in a manner such as these are ones that are divinely guided. There are aspects of you that are attempting to acquire knowledge through mediumship abilities, and this is possible, my children, for this is aspects of the communication that is gifts to all humans. However, it is the intuition that is the true guide. That is the true aspect of how we are sending information to you. The channeling abilities of both Christopher, Andrea, and others are very real and absolute aspects of guidance systems. However, your, as an individual, true, most important guidance system is one of the intuitive mind. For this, all humans have and feel, regardless of your ability to open up to communication with spirit. It is through this system that we communicate directional paths, directional on the lazy river. It is through the surrender of this feeling that will allow for your ultimate path to be followed and thus achieved mission, purpose in this lifetime. These additional gifts of clairvoyance, channeling, and others are aspects of all humans that are very real and capable of being developed with choice and effort, work. However, they are not aspects that all individuals are opening, and thus not all ways in which we communicate. The aspects of the Creator that will come to you in the form of numbers, symbols, animals are also an accurate representation of methods in which the divine used to communicate with the human body, mind, soul. However, these aspects too are not all recognized by humans on this plane. They are parts of the veil of forgetfulness that we don't necessarily remember. However, it is in times that these animals are seen, heard, felt in the body that humans that are not quite developed can begin to hold on to inquire about, and thus leverage in a sense of research and learning. We encourage you, my children, to understand these aspects and the importance of the intuitive mind as it attempts to guide you. For there is accuracy when stated that the step forward could just be that, a step forward, and not necessarily the end point, even though it is felt to be the end point. It is not. It could be an aspect of your path that is meant to lead you to the next step, to the next level of accomplishment and success and fulfilling of this life's purpose and mission. For you are divinely guided in all aspects of life. It is through the feelings of the intuitive mind that you will find the direct course of action. Yes, it is accurate that there is much lesson in the aspect of not filling the path correctly, accurately. However, this is not an aspect that we encourage you to intentionally follow. This is an aspect of all humans and their free will. But when you intentionally follow an aspect of you that is not high vibrational, it is considered a setback. This is an aspect of you that could be detrimental to your growth, although it feels as if this is a location to go. What we speak of here, to clarify any confusion, is the sense that you make a decision knowing it is low vibrational intentionally because it could feel physically good. This is not an aspect that we encourage. It is an aspect that is not one with the divine. We encourage true love through the intuitive mind, through the feelings, and the knowing that you are meant to go in a particular direction. Confusion still in Christopher's mind in reference to this specific communication. And we urge you all to understand what we are communicating here. It is through the direct choosing to act in a low vibrational state that will cause for a setback to occur, and thus for a lesson or karmic balance in an energy to be reversed or balanced. Again, this is through the direct choosing of a low vibrational state, even when it is known not to be a high vibrational one. If the knowledge is not there that this is high vibrational versus low vibrational, or the idea, notion that you are truly fulfilling your purpose, then the setback is not necessarily happening. But if it is the intent to intentionally choose low vibration over high vibration, then this is, yes, considered a setback. And we hope that this clarification is understood at this time by both Christopher and others. The importance, my children, of your divine intuition is one of greatness, and one that all humans have been gifted with, one that is truly fulfilling of who you are as a human. And we encourage a true sense of surrender to these feelings, to this understanding that we are here with you all, always, at every given moment of every given day, at every space, time, dimension, and reality. We are present with you, always. Our love for you is eternal, and our assistance and guidance with you is also equally eternal. Please leverage the gifts that you all currently have in the intuitive mind, and should you so choose to accept the gifts others that are capable of being developed, you are most welcome to begin that process as well. For it is one that was given directly by your Creator, and in essence for you to begin and truly follow who you are meant to be in this lifetime. And we are so grateful for the opportunity to communicate this to you today and every day, that we are here on this podcast. We are grateful for both your attentiveness and for the opportunity through Christopher, through which we speak. We are grateful for you all, my children. We love you all greatly and are here for you always. Remember this, please, as you proceed along this path. Ultimately, my children, there is no wrong, even in the aspect of a setback. This is no wrong decision, my children. This is simply energy that must be balanced at that time. Please be aware of this. It is possible to balance it in this current lifetime without taking the lesson with you to a next lifetime. Please understand. This is very real and possible. We love you all and are grateful for you all. Go in peace knowing that we are always with you. We love you now and always. Enoch speaking. Enoch, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for my confusion during that channeling session, because he was bringing up some things that I wasn't sure I understood, and I wasn't sure if you guys would understand when hearing this again. Andrea, are you cool with everything? Did you have any questions at all about that?
No, I'm good right now.
Yeah. Did you want to?
Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, please understand that Andrea knows she is welcome to speak at any time. I know we're still working on timing um, of of her coming in at different points of this, but she knows, and I know, and I just want to make you guys all aware that she's welcome to come in at any time and talk. So I know sometimes you might ask that question like, hey, we want to hear from Andrea, and we all do, and that's definitely an aspect of this that's coming, but we're just working through timing, so that's all it is. And I appreciate your patience there, guys. And Andrea, thank you.
No, I know. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, we all are. I know. It's tough too because sometimes when I get into conversations, when I just go off, like I can definitely understand where you're coming from. Like, oh my gosh, can I interrupt them? Right?
Right. No,
Yeah.
it's cool. And I've never been on a podcast before, so I'm still trying to get used to speaking.
And it's tough when you're dealing with someone, that doesn't stop talking.
No, I
Right?
enjoy it. Definitely keep going.
All right, cool. Well, just know that obviously you're always welcome to jump in and
No, I
ask
know.
questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you guys all for listening and for being a part of this. We really appreciate you. OpenToEnergy.com is the website. Please reach out to us with any thoughts, any recommendations, anything that you want to hear about. Let us know. And you can do that through the website. There are pages on the website that you can contact us directly, and we encourage it. So thank you all so much. Love you all so much, and we will definitely talk to you soon. Enjoy your week. Oh, also, any questions that you have about this podcast or any other ones, also send them in. Thank you.